Most of us have asked ourselves these kinds of questions. Is there life in the universe? Is there life after death? Where do we go in the afterlife? And also, what the heck is the strongest Megatron? Like seriously, there's so many Megatrons and we don't have a clear answer. Until today. Hello guys, the Fire Brothers here. And much like the last video, where I went over all the primes and we picked one to participate in the tournament of power if it were to involve the Transformers universe, this time we're doing it for Megatron. And this is the last really long video of this series, because Optimus Prime and Megatron are like the Goku and Vegeta of Transformers. Like, it's kind of mandatory to have them, even if they're not really the strongest. And also, Diamond Bull hasn't made a video about Megatron, so yay, gonna take advantage of that and, you know, beat him this time. Alright, but we're gonna be using the rules from the last video. If you guys wanna go in depth over the rules, you can check the first episode. But I'm gonna tell you some of the rules real quickly. No killing is allowed. We are not accepting giants like Metroplex, because they're too big for the arena, and also there are Transformers out there who can easily beat Metroplex. Yes, shocking, right? We're gonna be going over the main continuity. For example, for the movies we're gonna be going over the, you know, the actual movies. We're not gonna be touching the comics. I will touch some of the comics in rare occasions, for like the Transformers Megatron Armada, and for the Marvel comics, since, you know, those are some different incarnations of Megatron, so I am gonna touch those. Anyways guys, this is episode 3, we go over the strongest Megatron. Now sit back, relax, and stay tuned as we find out who really is the strongest Megatron of all time.
Danger's waiting out there, let's go. Surging energy, let it flow. Toss me right into the action. Get your kicks to will out the time. Keep the fight up until I die. I can get no satisfaction. A new challenges can go unaware. I just gotta reach on to the endless sky. The real fun only just begun. Until we're gone, let's take on the
Alright, now we're gonna jump right into it. First off is the Transformers follow Cybertron Megatron. And unlike the Optimus Prime follow Cybertron, this Megatron is actually pretty damn strong. His endurance is really high. He survived getting, you know, punched by Metroplex. When he got punched the first time, he was still able to slowly crawl up and try and shoot Metroplex. Like, that's how much endurance this Megatron has. I mean, yeah, sure, he was heavily damaged, but still, he survived. He survived 3 hits, and the 4th hit he was pretty much done already. In the campaign, after getting fixed by Soundwave, after his humiliating defeat at the hands of Metroplex, Megatron gains the ability to fly, but he can only fly for a certain amount of time. Now, we don't really know if this is like canon or is this just, you know, for the gameplay. But we're gonna go for the gameplay and just say he can do it for a certain amount of time. He also has some insane strength, as he was able to beat Optimus depending on the player's choice into a bloody pulp. He also comes equipped with his signature ion cannon, which he can use to devastate enemy armies. Also, when the ion cannon is on its last clip, it will unleash one supercharged ion blast that creates an explosion that's so strong that knocks back enemies and kills them. For his secondary weapon, he's equipped with a heavy machine gun, which is quite slow and doesn't have that much accuracy, but it's still pretty useful against large amounts of enemies. This Megatron is also an expert when it comes to hand-to-hand combat and sword combat. In his last fight against Optimus Prime, using his bare hands, he was able to put up a good fight against Optimus, and using his sword, he was able to outperform Optimus depending on the player's choice. Also, Megatron got stabbed during the fight and he was still able to keep on going, so yeah, another testament to Megatron's endurance. Also, his fighting style seems to be like go all out, do not hold back. And while he's fighting, he combines his fighting skills along with his weapons. During the battle against Optimus, while he uses regular fists, he will often use his ion cannon during the fight, as he combines his weapon into his fighting style. This Megatron also comes equipped with a shield, which he used in his final battle against Optimus Prime. However, this Megatron doesn't come without weaknesses. If you can fly in the tournament, you have a huge advantage. The technique of flying is disabled, so characters like Goku who use energy to try and fly, they cannot do it. But characters who have wings or jetpacks can actually fly. And since Megatron has like those shoulder jetpacks, oh my god, I don't know how to say it. Since Megatron can hover temporarily, that's gonna give him a huge advantage. But then again, he can only fly for so long, so that's his weakness. His weakness will also be that he's too proud. When he fought against Metroplex, the sensitive thing would be to retreat, but instead he decided to, arrogantly raise his ion cannon and try and shoot Metroplex, which ultimately got him killed. This Megatron doesn't back down when the going gets tough. He's also quite slow since he's a tank, and if he takes too much damage, he will go down. Overall, this Megatron actually makes it to the next round, just because he has some pretty good feats behind his back. Sticking with the aligned continuity, we got the Transformers Prime Megatron, and I just wanna say for the record, this is my favorite version of Megatron. This Megatron comes equipped with an ion cannon, which is strong enough to down Autobots. He used his ion cannon into series finale, Deadlock. 3 shots, and he took out Bumblebee. He also has a big sword. I don't know what it's called, okay? He has that sword that's attached to his arm. He used it in many different occasions. This sword is strong enough to pierce through opponents, as to one point, his sword managed to tear an Insecticon in half. This Megatron will also come equipped with the Dark Star Saber. The Dark Star Saber, it's even more powerful than the regular Star Saber. When Megatron fought Optimus using the Star Saber, the Dark Star Saber managed to break the Star Saber in half. The same sword which tore a mountain in half. The same sword which heavily damaged the Decepticon ship with one strike. That's how powerful the Dark Star Saber is. His jet mode's pretty fast, allowing him the ability to fly. This Megatron cannot fly in his robot mode, he needs to use his jet mode to fly. This Megatron comes equipped with the Dark Energon, and the Dark Energon greatly increases Megatron's strength. During the battle against Optimus, Megatron's punches sent Optimus flying. They really gave Optimus a hard time in the battle. He even managed to hold his own and almost rival Predacon in strength. Keep in mind, this is Predacon in robot mode, but still, to go up against Predacon, that's a big achievement. And he also at one point broke Optimus Prime's soul with his bare hands. This Megatron has some crazy resistance. He survived an explosion of a space bridge. Remember, the space bridge basically, defies the laws of physics and time, so Megatron survived that. Granted, he was heavily damaged and to an edge to his life, thanks to the Dark Energon. But this just goes to show how strong the Dark Energon makes him. While also having the Dark Energon, Megatron can shoot Dark Energon blasters. As to at one point he shot at Bumblebee, who was with his human companion, and the blast not only hurt Bumblebee, but it also infected Raphael, Bumblebee's companion, making him be sick of Dark Energon poisoning. Now, Dark Energon already has a big effect on those around it. It makes them weaker and have nausea. On a human, it's very deadly. Now granted, I did say that no chemical weapons, but this is not really a chemical weapon, this is more of a side effect that the Dark Energon has, so we're gonna be allowing it. If this Megatron takes too much damage, he will go down. He survived a space bridge, but if he takes a lot, and I mean a lot of damage, he will go down. Also, if this Megatron gets blindsided, he's gonna be easily taken out, as the Bumblebee managed to almost kill Megatron by stabbing him in the spark while he wasn't looking. And he cannot fly without his jet mode, and in his jet mode he's not very, capable of defending himself. So that's another weakness. But overall, this Megatron is definitely one of the strongest, and he absolutely makes it out to the next round. Okay, next we have the Movieverse Megatron, and okay, this is gonna throw a lot of people off. This is actually kind of a tie between the movie 1 Megatron and the last 9 Megatron. In the last video, we kind of had a death match between the trilogy Optimus Prime and the Edge of Extinction Prime, just because they're both very similar. They're both the same character, but their fighting styles are different. So we gotta take which one's the best. And same for this one, the first movie Megatron and the last 9 Megatron are like completely different. Now, we're not gonna go over Dark of the Moon or Revenge of the Fallen, since they're pretty weak in comparison to those two. In my honest opinion, I was thinking about this a lot, and the last 9 Megatron is actually stronger than the first movie Megatron. Now, before you get angry, listen to me. Galvatron is a pretty strong robot, okay? In Age of Extinction, he was able to transform into a cloud of, stuff to dodge missiles, dodge attacks. He didn't have a spark, so he was nearly invincible. He was equipped with missiles, and he even managed to give Optimus Prime a hard time during their battle. And Megatron, having that body, that almost invincible body, decided to upgrade from that to the last 9 body. Now think about that for a second. If you're immortal and you have these abilities, and you switch to another body which doesn't have, the whole cloud thing, I'm like really inferring over here that this body, the last 9 body, is way stronger than the Age of Extinction one. Sure, Megatron lost the ability to transform into, that metal cloud to dodge attacks. But why would he do that? It doesn't make sense for Megatron to go to an inferior body. And also, looking back at the movie, this Megatron has some pretty good feats. So yeah, upgraded from Galvatron, an already strong bot, into this. Okay, that already tells us that he's pretty strong. He's even stronger than Galvatron, confirmed pretty much. He comes equipped with an ion cannon, which in one shot he managed to take down Hound. He managed to knock him off conscious. He also comes with a sword, much like Optimus Prime. While we haven't really seen Megatron use the sword in the film, the sword is very similar to Optimus Prime's Knight Sword. So we can infer that he probably has the similar capability, so he can also fly without transforming. Now this is a huge advantage over the movie 1 Megatron. The first movie Megatron needed to transform to fly. This Megatron can fly without transforming. Now you're probably saying, how's that better? Movie 1 Megatron in jet mode, the only thing he can do is like fly around and shoot missiles. But the last 9 Megatron can fly around, he can transform to try and keep up with the first movie Megatron's speed. He also has an access to his ion cannon, and if he gets close enough, he can just use his sword to tear through the first movie Megatron's jet mode. This Megatron is also heavily armored. After in the movie he took some, pretty heavy hits. He got shot by Hound and was still able to keep on fighting. During his battle against the Autobots, he took not one, he took 4 Autobots at the same time. And when Harvard stopped the time, Hound, using his machine gun, he shot like 1,000 bullets at Megatron, and he was still able to keep on going. This Megatron also knows when to retreat. When Grimlock showed up, he knew that the Decepticons were gonna be outnumbered, so that's why he ordered them to retreat. Now you're probably saying, how's this a good thing? The Transformers follow CYBERTRON Megatron. When he saw Metroplex, he wasn't like, no, retreat everyone. He was like, attack, attack! Even though he was in a huge disadvantage. This Megatron knows when to retreat. He's a tactician. And I did say we're not judging on intelligence, but personality wise and strategy wise, this Megatron is actually pretty good. He even managed to keep up with Optimus Prime during the climax of the film. He also has some pretty good strength, as to he managed to overpower Optimus Prime with one hand. He grabbed the sword and knocked him to the ground. Now, the first movie Megatron never actually kinda did that with one hand at least. And to be fair, you can't really say that Optimus won that fight, because all that Optimus did was kick Megatron out of the chamber, get him out of the room. He didn't really beat him, and the fight was never really finished, kinda like in Age of Extinction. And supposedly his jet mode is incredibly fast. Now, during the events from Age of Extinction to the last night, somehow Galvatron made it to Quintessa. Quintessa, which we know was on Cybertron steering Cybertron towards Earth's direction. So that means that Optimus, while he was flying towards his creators, Megatron Galvatron beat Optimus towards Quintessa, and after that he beat him back to Earth. Because by the time Optimus found Quintessa, we already know that Megatron was on Earth with Barricade. So Megatron really outsped Optimus Prime. Think about that for a second. This Megatron is insanely fast in his vehicle mode. so that's already a huge advantage. His jet mode comes also equipped with missiles which he used against Optimus Prime once he reverted back to being a good guy. A lot of people don't give this Megatron credit, but this guy almost killed Bumblebee. During the final battle, he was gonna kill Bumblebee if it wasn't for Optimus intervening. And he was also gonna kill Hound. His sword was so strong that he managed to knock down Hound for a bunch of seconds, but he was quickly saved by Hot Rod. Those were gonna be 2 kills for this Megatron. If you know, there wasn't so many Autobots just lying around interfering. His weaknesses though, he gets blindsided, he will go down. As we saw, he wasn't paying attention to everyone else, and that's when Optimus got the drop on him and chopped off his arm. This Megatron is also quite reckless. In the first movie, the first thing he did was go after the Allspark, and he died. In Dark of the Moon, he went after Sentinel Prime, and he died. In Age of Extinction and The Last Night, Megatron has learned from his mistakes, and he's a little bit less reckless. As in The Last Night, we saw him say, "Decepticons, retreat!" So this Megatron knows when to retreat. He's not gonna stay, he's not gonna be proud. If he knows he's in a tough spot, he's gonna leave, and that's actually kind of a strength. And also, if he goes against stronger opponents, or if he gets overwhelmed by opponents, he will go down. He's gonna have a lot of trouble, as we saw in the final fight of The Last Night. He got trouble fighting against all the Autobots combined. Overall, I think that The Last Night Megatron is stronger than the first movie Megatron. You guys can feel free to debate that, but that's my opinion, so I'm gonna go with this Megatron. Alright, so taking a break from the Babers, we're gonna go to the good old classics, the G1 Megatron. So strengths, he can fly. Yes, this Megatron can fly, even though he doesn't have wings, which is kinda weird. He's also really strong, as he is able to carry, you know, many tons of weight. He can also carry Starscream with little to no trouble. This Megatron is also most notable for surviving a planet explosion, which in the last video, we covered that it was like about 21,000 kilotons, which is actually like a lot of energy. He was also able to tank Prime's punches. Now keep in mind, it took a planet-sized explosion to break Megatron's armor, yet in the movie Optimus Prime's punches were so strong that they actually cracked Megatron's armor, something that wasn't done until the explosion. So that means the Megatron can tank a force stronger than the explosion at that point. He also comes equipped with an energy mace which he uses from time to time. His ion cannon is so strong that he's able to kill Autobots easily, as to he used it to kill Ironhide and a bunch of other Autobots. So this Megatron is actually quite strong. But wait, there's more! Megatron's evolving! Megatron turning to Galvatron! Yes, after getting upgraded by Galvatron, Megatron's powers get increased by a lot. His vehicle mode, it's extremely powerful. He was able to kill Starscream with one shot, disintegrating him. As Galvatron, his strength increases and his endurance increases. So remember that time Optimus broke Megatron's armor? Well, too bad Optimus. Megatron evolved into Galvatron. Galvatron can tank those punches even better now. I quit. Bye. Alright, you deal with this guy now. Galvatron is actually pretty powerful. He can also fly. Yeah, so there again. So we have Megatron's feats, and we have Galvatron, which is an upgraded version of Megatron, even stronger. So yeah, Galvatron is definitely a really strong foe, but he doesn't come without his weaknesses. His main weakness will be his mental condition, and this is something that's gonna be a recurring theme throughout this video. After the fight against Unicron, Galvatron got stranded in some kind of plasma bath, I think that was called, and it kind of made him insane. So yeah, he would just charge into battle without a strategy. He's really reckless, even more reckless than the movieverse, honestly. He also seems to be pretty weak to weather, as the original Megatron at one point got frozen, and this Megatron got taken out once the Autobot headmasters did a circle of friendship and buried Galvatron under ice. Yes. Really Galvatron! So Megatron tanked a planet-sized explosion, and you're supposed to be the upgraded version, and you can't survive an iceberg? What? And in one episode, Galvatron was restrained by some kind of organic thing. So Megatron's strength is really inconsistent. So yeah, the G1 Galvatron, although he's really good, his mental weakness holds him back by a lot. But still, his recklessness could come quite useful, so that's why he makes it to the next round. Okay, so bear with me people, cause things are about to get a little weird. So the G1 Marvel Comics CYBERTRON comes equipped with an ion gun. He has a high pain tolerance, as to one point his face got like torn off. He was still able to keep on going. He has some massive strength and power, as to some points he was able to pummel Autobots to the ground and tear apart Autobots with his bare hands. This guy also has some extreme endurance, as to one point this Galvatron traveled back in time and all the Autobot forces shot at him at the same time, and that had no effect on him. This Megatron has some really insane high levels of resistance against energy blasts. When he's allied with Unicron, his blast does insane amounts of damage. He becomes even stronger. Now this Megatron, this Galvatron, if he does makes it out, he is gonna be allied with Unicron. I'm gonna explain this in a future video, but we're gonna give him the Unicron allied boost. At one point, Ultra Magnus got the drop on Galvatron. He pummeled Galvatron to the ground. He kept on going and beat him down so bad. And Galvatron just got up and basically managed to fight Ultra Magnus and even beating him a couple of times. This Galvatron has some insane strength, insane endurance, and insane firepower. His weaknesses again is the weather. He can get frozen, he can, get burned, that kind of stuff. And at one point, this Galvatron also got stuck on their ice, but at least he managed to escape, unlike someone else. This Galvatron suffers from insanity. After being a servant of Unicron for so long, he kind of messed with his head. That's what Starscreen said. The Marvel Comics Galvatron is actually pretty strong. This Galvatron is like nearly unstoppable. Okay, next up we got the Marvel Comics Megatron. But now you guys are thinking, but dude, you just covered Galvatron. Why are we going after Megatron? Well, Galvatron was from another timeline, so he's kind of a different character, I wanna say. This Megatron is also very different. At one point the Decepticons took over the Ark, and Megatron and Galvatron basically formed an alliance against the Autobots. Ratchet managed to secure the Ark and crash landed it on Earth, supposedly killing all the Decepticons in there. But surprise surprise, Megatron was not dead, as to he was rebuilt and upgraded to a tank body by Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe. Never heard of them. So in his new form, he's already an upgrade over the original Megatron. He has some pretty amazing resistance, as to he was able to tank so many attacks and able to go against the Marvel Comics Optimus Prime, which in the last video we covered he's actually pretty strong. At one point he was even left like this. Ugh. Yes, this Megatron has survived like tons of punishment, tons of explosions. He has some pretty insane firepower, as his firepower was strong enough to scare off the Autobots, fight an army of J-Axis soldiers, and even damage Optimus Prime in a few occasions. Of course, by being an upgraded version of the original, he's like a massive improvement over the regular G1 Megatron. At one point he crushed Brawl's head with his bare hands. Yes, even more powerful. The thing that makes this Megatron stand out is his use of the antimatter. This Megatron can control antimatter, use it to create a black hole which destroys enemies. So yeah, this is like ultimate OP hacks kind of thing. He can just use this on someone on the tournament and bam, they're gone, transported to another universe or just completely annihilated. But however, this Megatron also has his weaknesses, as to at one point he got killed. He was destroyed by the antimatter attack that he used. As to his insanity or something was kicking in, this distracted Megatron and caused him to lose control, and the antimatter instead of destroying his enemies, it destroyed him. So that means that he needs to be concentrated, like he doesn't have that much control over it. So the antimatter is a strength, but at the same time it's a weakness. So yeah, this Megatron is really powerful, and his antimatter is the selling point for him. But at the same time, the antimatter can also backfire on his face, literally. In comparison to Galvatron, I'm not really sure if Galvatron has the antimatter thing, the antimatter power. It was never really, specifically explained if he had it or not. But at least Galvatron was unstoppable. And again, he does have the same weakness as this Megatron, but Galvatron just has more feats. Since he has the aid of Unicron, that amplifies his powers. I would say that Galvatron makes it to the next round, and this Megatron, we decided to go another way. Sorry, Max. Next is the IDW Megatron. Okay, so this Megatron actually kind of impressed me. This Megatron managed to take down Skywarp Blitzwing with ease, as well as many other Decepticons, without breaking a sweat. His punches were so strong that his force combined with Optimus Prime's punches were so powerful to level human cities. He also has some pretty good resistance, as the Starscream at one point attacked Megatron with all his strength, and all that this did to Megatron was annoy him. Like he was like, "What, really? Is that all you got? Am I really strong or are you really weak?" He also managed to beat up Optimus Prime on a couple occasions. Now granted, when Megatron beat up Optimus Prime when they first arrived on Earth, Megatron was empowered by a thing called Order 13. It basically increased Megatron's powers. But the Order 13 kind of has a weakness, which is the Autobots expose, allowing the Autobots to basically win the battle against the Decepticons later on. So no, this Megatron will not be using Order 13. But still, his brute force is strong enough to tear out through opponents and beat them to an inch of their lives. And this IDW Megatron also comes equipped with the antimatter power. During the final issue of the Lost Light, the Lost Lighters fought against the Decepticon Justice Division, and Megatron basically slaughtered them all. This Megatron has the power of the antimatter, much like the G1 Marvel's Megatron did. The use of the antimatter was so strong that he managed to kill all of them really quickly. Except for Overlord, who just bailed.
Fuck this shit, I'm melting. No.
Also, this version of Megatron is currently an Autobot. Yes, this Megatron is a good guy, for now at least. Hopefully he stays that way because I kinda like his character development. I just figured I might throw that on the side right now. His firepower is pretty strong, almost rivaling the firepower of Optimus Prime. Almost. This Megatron seems to also be very durable when it comes to physical attacks, as to he was able to tank the hits of Optimus Prime. And keep in mind that this Optimus Prime, like in the previous video, has survived basically, you know, the forces of space and time. Took out combiners, managed to punch through Nova Prime. Yeah, surviving the fist of the IDW Optimus Prime, that's like no small feat, okay? So it just goes as a testament to Megatron's extreme endurance. Also, Megatron can fully charge his blast. In one fully charged blast, Megatron's ion cannon is so strong that he can destroy a small human town, which has a range of 12 miles. He can also connect his black hole with his cannon, basically use the antimatter power in his blaster, use it to eradicate enemies, hit them once and they're dead. All of this thanks to Shockwave, who installed this ability onto Megatron, which he later kinda used them against him. But Megatron still has that ability, and he used it to take out some of the most fiercest and strongest Decepticons in the IDW comics. So this Megatron definitely makes it to the next round. As for weaknesses, he pretty much has the same weaknesses as the Marvel's G1 Megatron comic counterpart. So the weaknesses for this Megatron, basically, again, he takes too much damage, he will go down. Also, this Megatron can't fly. Yes, he cannot fly, at least not in his robot mode. So yeah, that's a huge downer for him, because flying is such a huge advantage on the battlefield, and without flying, he's still pretty strong, but he's still not as good as he would be if he could fly. So yeah, overall the IDW Megatron is actually quite strong, and he does make it to the next round. Now we're gonna go over the Robots in Disguise Megatron, and this Megatron can transform into 6 different forms. He has his special attacks called the Color Beam, which he mostly uses to destroy buildings and uses to trap Autobots under it. He also can drain the life of his opponents once he got upgraded into Galvatron. So he can drain the life from sentient beings. So that's actually a pretty useful ability to have in the tournament. But killing is not allowed, and draining the life could probably kill someone, so that's already a huge downer. His weapon is the Striker Lance, which is pretty strong against other opponents, but at one point got destroyed by the Matrix Blade. So the Striker Lance can be destroyed if it's met with a weapon of either of the same strength or greater strength. Also, when he got upgraded into Galvatron, his power increased by quite a bit, and he became stronger physically, and also on the firepower department. This Megatron has lost quite a few fights, and also it doesn't help that this Megatron he's fighting really weak Autobots. Like I said on the last video, the robots in disguise Autobots are really weak in comparison to other continuities. So you being the strongest one in a series where everyone's pretty much really weak, it's not really something to, you know, be boasting about. Also, this Megatron can fly. In comparison to the other Megatrons we talked about, my guess would be that this Megatron wouldn't make it very far. So no, he's off the list. Next is the Armada Megatron. This Megatron's super strong, as to at one point he was able to suplex Optimus Prime. He leaped so high up, carrying him, and then threw him to the ground, and kicked him so hard to throw him off the arena. Yes, that's how insanely strong this Megatron is. He also seems to have some kind of weird obsession with Optimus Prime. As to one point when Optimus Prime was thought to be dead, Megatron went into a deep depression, knowing that there will be no one else that could rival him. He can also use the tank on his back as a blaster, which he used in his final battle against Optimus. This Megatron also seems to be a master when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, as to he was able to keep up and even overpower Optimus in a few occasions, during their final battle and throughout the show. Now this Megatron comes equipped with a minicon, and now I said that combining and fusions are allowed, but if at any moment Leader 1, Megatron's minicon and him defuse, then they're both gonna be out of the arena. When they're combined, they're actually pretty strong. Megatron's power increases by quite a bit. But however, the thing that kills this Megatron is that I know I said I wasn't gonna touch really the comics, but I figured I was gonna cover this because I think it's kinda sort of canon to the previous Galvatron I talked about. And basically at one point, when he was empowered by Leader 1, he came in contact with another Galvatron for another dimension. It's supposed to be this Galvatron is the one that time traveled in the Marvel comics and fought Ultra Magnus and the other Autobots a couple times. And this Megatron kinda lost to him. Yes? So I guess mission accomplished? I mean, this is the first time we have another contestant find another contestant in canon and actually win. So I guess we can count the Armada Megatron already out. Wow, this is actually a first. Now we're gonna go over the Energon Megatron, and do we really have to? Can we just skip this one? Okay, fine, we'll go over it. Ah, jeez. So we're not gonna be going over the Titan Megatron, like the big form Megatron takes over towards the end of the series. Because again, no Titans and no giant forms because too big. This Megatron's actually pretty strong, like pretty decently strong. He was able to beat a lot of the Autobots a number of times. When he got upgraded into Galvatron, his power increased. He also comes equipped with a sword and two guns that he has on his shoulders, which he can use to knock back the Autobots. Surprisingly, this Megatron is actually quite strong, but there are more impressive Megatrons out there, and like the Marvel comic Megatron, who can create a black hole, or the Transformers Prime Megatron, who can basically tear a mountain in half. This Megatron's not that impressive, I'll be honest, okay? He is packing a decent amount of firepower, and he's actually quite strong. Overall, he doesn't make it in the list, so skip! Next we got the Transformers Cybertron Galvatron. This Galvatron has access to cyber key attacks. Using one of his cyber key attacks, he managed to take down a large number of Optimus Prime's Autobots. He was able to beat Optimus Prime in his super mode, his regular super mode. Also, he took down Metroplex with one finger. Metroplex, one finger. Enough said. This Megatron can also fly. He has access to lightning attacks, which he used against Optimus during the final fight. This Galvatron also has some pretty good endurance, as to Optimus punched Galvatron to the moon, and he was still able to keep on going. This Galvatron also seems to be able to use energy constructs. During the final fight, he used an energy sword against Optimus Prime. And after getting upgraded into Galvatron, Galvatron kinda just owned almost everyone in the show, very rarely losing a fight. Galvatron still lost a couple battles, mostly because the Decepticons were either incompetent, or he did something wrong, or the Optimus got a new super mode upgrade. He has some pretty insane strength to hold out Metroplex with one finger. Galvatron was put down, however, towards the end of the show by regular super mode Optimus Prime with the aid of Vector Prime. So yeah, it took a lot to put Galvatron down, And even in their final battle, when the two of them went all out, Galvatron still managed to put up a good fight, and he was even about to kill Optimus if it wasn't for Vector Prime intervening and giving Optimus the sword of Vector Prime. Overall, the Cybertron Galvatron definitely earns his spot on the list. He makes it to the next round. Next, we got the animated Megatron. Okay, so he's the strongest one in the show. Hands down. He can fly without using his vehicle mode. He has a sword which was able to deflect Starscream's energy attacks. Thus Megatron also stands out, because instead of waiting for like 1,000 betrayals from Starscream, this Megatron terminated Starscream as soon as he betrayed him for the first time. His hand cannon is so powerful that he can take down Autobots pretty easily, and he can also create explosions. He's also strong enough to tear his enemies apart. He has some extreme endurance, as to one point, he survived a hit from energies from the Allspark. He was heavily damaged, but he survived. He also survived a thermal detonation from Starscream's bomb, which was attached to him. And also survived the crash landing of the Autobot Ark into Earth. On top of that, his weaknesses will be if he takes too much damage, again, he will go down. And also, cosmic energy seems to be like the main weakness of this Megatron, as the Allspark energy managed to really damage and injure him. During the final battle, Megatron and Optimus were trapped in an Allspark energy shield, which was about to explode with Allspark energy, but Prowl managed to save Optimus and get him out of there, leaving Megatron stuck in there. And Megatron survived getting hit by an explosion from the Allspark itself. The animated Megatron is pretty strong, and he makes it to the next round. Now it's time for the elimination round. We're gonna eliminate the Megatrons and Galvatrons that are not that strong, that wouldn't be that effective in the tournament setting. So first is the G1 Galvatron. Now, this Galvatron is really powerful, really strong. Tanking, you know, Optimus Prime's punches, taking down Starscream, that kind of stuff. Now, I guess he can stay, but his main weakness is the mentality. Like, he's not that sane. It's honestly a tough call. And also, we got the Marvel's Galvatron, and it's a really tough call between the G1 Galvatron and the Marvel Comics Galvatron, because they're both really similar. Galvatron was put down because he was too stubborn to move out of the way. Once of the mess he had created in the timeline created some kind of time rift, Galvatron decided to stand his ground thinking he was invincible, but he was destroyed by it. The insanity of both Galvatrons is a major weakness of both of them. They are both insanely powerful warriors, but the mental weaknesses makes them, it just really holds them back a lot. But I guess we're keeping the G1 Galvatron. I'm gonna give it the slight edge, just cause, you know, the regular Megatron, you know, has shown more feats, and Galvatron is an upgrade from Megatron, so therefore Galvatron is like Megatron but better. Oh, Megatron survived an explosion from a planet. Oh, he's Galvatron now. Pfft, I bet he can survive an explosion from 2 planets. Something like that, you know? I'm not saying he can, I'm just giving some kind of example. I'm gonna give the slightest of edges to the G1 cartoon Galvatron. We can also easily knock out the movie Megatron. I really like the movie Megatron. I think this is like the best Megatron has been in a while. He hasn't dealt with planet-sized explosions as like the G1 Megatron has. So that's why we're knocking the movie Megatron out. We are keeping though the Marvel Comics Megatron, since like we don't really know if he has survived like a huge explosion like the cartoon Megatron has, but he has the ability to, you know, use the antimatter, create a black hole. I'm guessing that could probably kill Galvatron pretty easily, even though like he doesn't have as much feats as Galvatron does. An ability like that could come really in handy, so he's staying for now. The IDW Megatron, he's pretty strong, but again, this is really close. The black hole thing, he has better control over it than the Marvel Comics one. So we're gonna knock out the Marvel Comics and keep the IDW. Also, Robots in Disguise, Armada, and Energon are immediately out. Animated is also out, since Well, this Megatron's strong, but in comparison to other Megatrons, he's not that strong. We are keeping the Transformers Prime Megatron. He has survived being crushed by the forces of space and time, and a similar-ish explosion to the G1 Galvatron, and the Dark Star Saber, the Dark Energon effect. Like that's huge against his enemies. That could disorient, you know, the other Megatrons who haven't really used Dark Energon at all. And the Transformers Cybertron and Galvatron also can stay. I mean, getting punched to the moon, almost beating the Cybertron Optimus Prime, who in the last video I said was the strongest Optimus Prime of all time. So it comes to the Transformers Prime Megatron, the G1 Galvatron, the Cybertron Galvatron, and the IDW Megatron. Okay, this is really close to call, because I like all of these Megatrons, and they're all pretty strong on their own right. But we need to remember that G1 Galvatron has insanity. He's pretty strong, he can take a punch, his attacks are devastating, but again, insanity. Who's not to say that he could, you know, turn on his allies, or, you know, get himself into a situation where he's gonna be dealing with multiple opponents and getting himself eliminated. The Prime Megatron is probably the more intellectual, more intelligent. Like, he knows when to pick a fight, he knows when to not. But again, the Dark Energon effect is a huge bonus. The Transformers Cybertron Megatron cyber key attacks, being punched to the moon and survive, took out so many opponents. Now, he's on par with the Transformers Cybertron Optimus Prime, who was the winner the last time. And the IDW Megatron has the antimatter. It's extremely close to call. You guys don't know. You guys can comment down below and tell me which one you guys think is the strongest, in your own opinion, because in my opinion either one of them could be the strongest. Alright, but I'm gonna take out the Transformers Prime Megatron just because he can't fly without using his jet. The Dark Star Saber and, you know, his feats are great and all, but Galvatron in his previous life as Megatron survived an explosion that was really big and powerful. So that's why we're gonna knock him out. I'm sorry, Megatron. And now we only have 3 left. I'm gonna also take out the IDW Megatron. The antimatter thing is great, but who's not to say that there's gonna be many opponents in the battlefield? Who's not to say that he's gonna lose control or he's gonna be attacked and, you know, end up like the Marvel Comics Megatron? So he's out. So it comes to the G1 Galvatron and the Transformers Cybertron Galvatron. Now this is really tough. We got a tank, and we got someone that can deal so much damage and has insane amounts of strength, like stopping Metroplex with one finger. This is really tough to call. You guys have no idea how stressed I am right now. But I need to come to a decision. The G1 Galvatron, an upgraded version for Megatron, who survived a gigantic explosion, tanked the punches from Optimus Prime, took out Starscream and disintegrated him in his vehicle mode with one shot. He's definitely like the strongest Decepticon in the show. But again, he got taken out by the Circle of Friendship. Like, what? At least the Transformers Cybertron Galvatron got taken out with honor. Even when he got stabbed, he still kept on going. That Galvatron has some insane endurance. He got stabbed, but he was still going. He still tried to go. He has a bigger will. And also, at least the Cybertron Galvatron is not insane. And he can also fly. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. Huge bonus. I'm gonna go with the Cybertron Galvatron. Yes, we got 2 Cybertron characters. Now I know some people are gonna disagree. Maybe the Marvel Comics Galvatron was, you know, better. But overall, I guess we can all say that Galvatron is just better than any version of Megatron. Any version of Galvatron is probably an up over any version of Megatron. Because, you know, Galvatron's basically an upgrade from Megatron. So it's not surprised to have a Galvatron be the winner. A Galvatron be the winner. But in my opinion, the Marvel Comics, the G1 Galvatron and the Cybertron Galvatron are all interchangeable. Like any one of them could be like the winner. But I'm gonna give it to the Cybertron Galvatron just because he doesn't have the insanity. He can think straight, he has more strategy. Galvatron will just charge at you and try to, you know, choke you or something. Really? Why couldn't you just shot him? the Cybertron Galvatron will use strategy, and on top of that, he has some insane amounts of strength. One finger. You cannot tell me that's not OP. But anyways, I declare the Transformers Cybertron Galvatron the second chosen warrior to participate in the tournament of power and represent the Transformers universe. So I already have Optimus and Galvatron from Transformers Cybertron, the strongest Optimus Prime and the strongest Megatron of all time. But that's just my opinion, guys. Feel free to comment down below and tell me if you guys think that the G1 Galvatron is the strongest or the comic Galvatron is the strongest. In my opinion, either one could be it, but I'm gonna go with Galvatron because, you know, the most anime-like Transformers show. It's gonna have some of the most over-the-top, most powerful characters. Kinda just makes sense too. So next video is gonna be about the strongest movie character. So you make sure to stay tuned for that, and it's not gonna be this long. I promise it's not gonna be this long. It's gonna be way shorter. But anyways, guys, that's just my opinion. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye, guys.